We are going to talk about direct and inverse variation. Y equals k, x is the direct variation equation. Inverse is y equals k over x. Direct, multiply. Inverse, divide. If you notice, they both have the letter k in common, and k is the constant of variation. K, constant of variation. So if you notice, direct and inverse both have the letter k. Number 9, we want to determine whether the equation represents direct, inverse, or neither. So then you're going to determine the constant of variation, if it is direct or inverse. Letter A. Y equals negative 1 half x. So if you notice, it is very similar to y equals mx plus b. Do not let the fraction scare you. It is very similar to that. Your y-intercept is 0. Your slope is negative 1. So with that said, your equation is a direct variation. Now your k is equal to negative 1 half. If you remember, direct variation means that it goes through the origin. Letter B. Y equals x divided by 10. If you notice, yes, it's divided by, but in inverse variation, you gotta make sure that one variable is on top and one variable is on the bottom, and the number is on top. Letter B says that both your variables are on top. Since both variables are on top, that means that it is not inverse and it can't be direct because the operation being done is division. So it is neither. Letter C is an inverse variation equation because, yes, x is here, but if you notice, one variable is on top and one variable is on the bottom. So it all depends on what letter you use. It's okay that you're using y and x in different places. What matters is that one variable is on top, one variable is on the bottom. Since it's inverse, your k is equal to negative 8. Letter D is actually an inverse variation, okay? Because another way to express inverse variation is xy is equal to k. So k is equal to negative 2. Letter E. You have x and y on the same side. So sometimes you need to manipulate the equation to get one of the variables by itself. So you have to add or subtract the x, and then multiply or divide by the number in front of your y. So y equals negative 2. A negative divided by negative is a positive 4 over 5x. So if you notice, you have a slope and a y-intercept that is not equal to 0. Since that is the case, it cannot be a direct variation equation. It is not inverse because it is not being divided. Yes, there's a fraction, but the number is not on top. It's not by itself, so that's why it's neither as well. Number 10. You want to find an equation of variation for the following. If y varies directly with x, and y equals negative 12 when x equals 4. Y varies directly. Okay, so what we're going to do is start off with y equals kx. Now, if you notice, they give you numbers for negative 12 for y and 4 for x. So you're going to take those numbers, you're going to plug them in, and you solve for k. So, since it is multiplication, opposite is division. So k is equal to negative 3. So you find k. Now we're going to use k to write down the equation. And that is it. This is the equation of variation. Number 2 says if y varies inversely, whenever you see that again, that will always be the equal k part. Y varies inversely with x. and y equals 18 when x equals 2. So you can take those numbers, plug them in. And if you notice, you're not given a k. So you need to find k by multiplying k equals 26. Actually, just kidding. K equals 36. So find k. Now we need to use k to write the equation. So y equals 36 over x. That is your equation of variation when y varies inversely with x. Alrighty, let's keep going. We're going to use word problems now. The number of pencils sold varies directly as the cost. Number of pencils varies directly as the cost. If you want to, you can use other letters besides y and x. Okay? So you can use N for pencils, C for cost. But if you want to keep it consistent, we can say that y is pencils and x is cost. Now let us set up the equation. So y varies directly as cost. Now we have if 5 pencils cost 45 cents, find the cost of pencils. So pencils is y, cost is x. Cost is x, 7 is y. So you got to figure out what those numbers mean. Then you're going to plug them in. So in place of y, you use 5 is equal to k, and your x is 45, because that's how much they cost. Now we need to find k. And k, okay, you're going to get a fraction, or you can use a decimal. I got 100 over 9. So we find k. Now you use k. So y equals kx, so we're going to use that equation again. So I'm going to substitute in what I have. I want to find the cost, and cost is x, so it stays x. I'm going to use the k that I found with my first set of information, and my y is 7. Now I need to isolate the x, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal since it's the fraction. So x is equal to, if we round, 0.63. So 7 pencils cost 63 cents. Number 12. If the length of the base of a rectangle, where'd it go? With constant area varies inversely as the height. When the base is 18, the height is 7. Find the length of the base when the height is 6. So the length we can say is y, varies inversely with the height. We can say that's x. So since it's inverse, it's y equals k over x. So the base, that's y, height is x. Length is y, height is x. So we are going to use that information. I'm going to plug it in, 18 in for y. You don't know k because it doesn't say constant of variation anywhere. And then your height is 7. So we need to find k. So k is equal to 126. So we find k. Now we need to use k. So y is equal to kx again. So we're going to use that part. Now we plug in what we know. We want to find the length, and that's y. So it's going to stay y. I'm going to use the k that we just found. So k is 126. And you divide by height, which is 6. You can type that into your calculator. And 126 divided by 6 is 21. Now, you got to make sure you definitely use units because it started with units. So y represents the length of the base. If you read it, it says the length of the base is 18 centimeters long. So for our situation, it's 21 centimeters long. And that is the length of the base when the height is 6.